Pope Leo XIV has just stepped into one of the most powerful and spiritual roles on earth, and already the burden of leadership is pressing down on him. He ascended to the throne of St. Peter with a calm yet thoughtful expression, aware that the weight of the entire Catholic world now rests on his shoulders. But before the applause from St. Peter's Square could fade, Leo XIV faced his first serious challenge, a challenge that could define his entire papacy. It is not a political problem or a simple administrative task. It is a question of identity for the Catholic Church itself. Will he carry forward the vision of his predecessor, Pope Francis, or will he slowly turn the Church toward a different path? Tradition or innovation, clarity or ambiguity, continuity or reform? These are the choices that lie before him, and the entire world is watching. From the very beginning, Pope Leo XIV sent out signals that sparked curiosity and even speculation. His choice of name was no coincidence. By calling himself Leo, he evoked Pope Leo XIII, the great leader who addressed the societal shifts of the Industrial Revolution with the powerful encyclical Rerum Novarum. It was a document that called for justice, workers' rights, and the protection of human dignity at a time of massive economic change. Now, as artificial intelligence, digital control, and cultural shifts sweep across our era, Pope Leo XIV seems to be positioning himself as the kind of leader who will stand firm for the dignity of each human being, especially in the face of technology that can sometimes devalue the soul. But symbolism is never just about names. When Leo XIV appeared for the first time from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, he wore the traditional and richly detailed papal vestments. This was in stark contrast to Pope Francis's simpler, more humble attire when he first greeted the faithful. Some dismissed the ornate dress as a mere stylistic choice, but many saw it as a powerful message, a quiet declaration that this new pope intends to bring back the solemnity, the mystery, and the sacred image of the papacy that had begun to fade in recent years. It was not yet a break with Francis, but it was certainly not a copy. His first meeting with the cardinals took place in the Synod Hall, a deliberate echo of Pope Francis's style. There, Pope Leo XIV expressed his desire to continue the priorities of Vatican II, the Second Vatican Council, which emphasized evangelization, synodality, care for the poor, and dialogue with the modern world. He quoted Pope Francis's apostolic exhortation Evangelii Gaudium and affirmed values like missionary conversion, episcopal collegiality, and compassion for the marginalized. In words, he stood firmly in line with Francis. Yet in tone and delivery, there was something more structured, more deliberate. Observers quickly noticed that while Francis often spoke with improvisation and charisma, Leo XIV spoke with order and clarity, as if setting a foundation for something more stable and long-lasting. While some cardinals celebrated his election as the continuation of the Francis era, others began to wonder, was this truly a continuation? Or was Leo XIV a careful reformer, chosen not to mirror Francis, but to quietly correct some of the turbulence that had emerged during Francis's time? The question became more pressing when the issue of Fiducia Supplicans rose to the surface. Fiducia Supplicans is a declaration issued in December 2023 under Pope Francis and Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez, the prefect of the dicastery, for the doctrine of the faith. It allowed for non-ritual blessings for couples in irregular situations, such as same-sex couples or divorced and remarried couples. The document was clear that these blessings should not resemble marriage, nor take the form of a liturgical rite. Yet the reality on the ground was very different. In various dioceses, bishops and priests began offering public blessings that looked suspiciously close to marriage ceremonies. Photos and videos showed priests standing before couples, offering prayers in front of witnesses, creating confusion and outrage. What was meant to be a pastoral gesture became a theological and public scandal. For many Catholics, especially in more traditional parts of the world, it seemed like the Church was abandoning its doctrine and surrendering to the spirit of the age. Africa was among the first to respond. Bishops from several African nations completely rejected the document. They spoke with clarity and boldness, saying that it caused confusion and harmed the unity of the Church. The bishops of the Netherlands echoed this view, and even in traditionally progressive countries like Spain, there were calls for suspension. The Russian Orthodox Church, watching from outside, expressed deep concern about what it saw as a weakening of moral clarity within Catholicism. Now, this storm has fallen directly into the lap of Pope Leo XIV. He must decide whether to uphold, revise, or overturn Fiducia Supplicans. The choice is not simple. If he abolishes the declaration, he risks alienating those who supported Francis's vision of a more inclusive church. But if he does nothing, he may allow confusion and division to deepen. According to some insiders, Pope Leo XIV is considering a reinterpretation, an effort to keep the spirit of the document while correcting its application and tightening its boundaries. This would allow him to preserve a sense of continuity with Francis, while also restoring doctrinal clarity. This strategy, correcting without denying, is not without precedent. History has seen popes make quiet adjustments to the decisions of their predecessors. Pope Benedict XVI once spoke about the hermeneutic of reform, a way of renewing the Church without breaking with tradition. Perhaps Leo XIV is following this same path. Yet observers are asking a deeper question. Is this merely cosmetic, or is it the beginning of a deeper reorientation of the Church's direction? When Leo XIV declared from the balcony of St. Peter's that the Church is open to all, he echoed the famous words of Francis, all, all, all. But now people are asking, open to all under what conditions? What does inclusion really mean? Does it mean welcoming every person while maintaining the truth of the gospel? Or does it mean changing the gospel to match modern demands? The ambiguity must be addressed, and it is Leo XIV who must do it. His approach so far has been careful. He moves slowly, choosing his words wisely. He has not made radical changes, but the tone has shifted. He does not speak as a revolutionary. He speaks as a guardian, and many believe this is exactly what the Church needs now, not more improvisation, but stability, not more emotional appeals, but doctrinal clarity. Some cardinals see him as a reconciler, someone who can bridge the divisions that have grown within the Church. But reconciliation requires more than diplomacy. It requires truth. And in the words of one theologian, the Pope is not a mediator of moral compromises. He is the guardian of apostolic faith. In today's age of confusion, the Church does not need a diplomat. It needs a shepherd who can guide with firmness and love. Behind the scenes of Leo XIV's election, there were hopes and calculations. Those who voted for him wanted continuity, but not blind repetition. They wanted someone who could bring together the spirit of Francis with the strength of tradition. If they had wanted a direct copy of Francis, they could have chosen Cardinal Fernandez or Cardinal Zuppi, but they chose Leo XIV, a man close to Francis but with his own mind. This reveals something important. The Church is seeking to turn the page, not tear the book, but write a new chapter that remains faithful to the old. To do that, Leo XIV must do more than offer kind words and grand gestures. He must face the confusion caused by documents like Fiducia Supplicans. He must clarify what the Church believes about marriage, blessings, sin, and salvation. He must help the world understand the difference between acceptance and approval, between mercy and compromise. Because without clear teaching, mercy becomes meaningless.